Welcome back to page 121. Today we're going to take a look at a book from Independence Games, Tree of Life. It's all about Altrants in Clement Sector 3rd Edition. Clement Sector 3rd Edition is a space game published under the Traveler Open Game license. So it's a 2x6 space game, and many things that are in here can be used in other of the 2x6 space games, Cepheus or Traveler, but there's stuff in here that can be used in other games too. I'll explain that as I get into the video. I'll also explain what an Altrant is. I like this book quite a bit. I want to thank the folks at Independence Games for sending it my way so I can take a look at it. And I'm going to go through it and I'm going to show you the utility of this book. There's a great deal of utility to it. So today, Tree of Life on page 121. Altrants in the Clement Sector 3rd Edition. What the heck is an Altrant? This is from the book Tree of Life. Very, very nice print-on-demand, available through Drive-Thru-RPG. John Watts, the author, always a good read. John does nice work. I'm always very happy when I see his name as the author. I want to say I like this cover art. I like it a lot. It kind of gets to the point of what Altrants are. And go inside. Some very nice artwork there. And then we see the table of contents, of course. Gotta love a good table of contents. I do. What is an Altrant? Altrants are defined as groups of human which from birth have been altered thanks to advanced genetic manipulation to have abilities different than a baseline human. Basically, they are genetically altered in the womb or via their parents, that they are not like mainline humans. Now, you say, wait a minute, in Clement Sector, everybody's got the genetic treatment that keeps aging at bay, and that makes everybody an Altrant. Yes, it does. Technically, everyone who's had that aging treatment is an Altrant, and that's acknowledged in here. But in man's various ability to find prejudice where there should be none, that's looked to be kind of okay. They're not really Altrants. That's just aging that's been kept away. But look over there. That guy's got a tail. He's weird. He's different. That's kind of what the Altrants are viewed as through this book and in society of Clement Sector and Earth during Clement Sector 3rd Edition. It's interesting. It goes into a lot of the prejudice against Altrants, how they were created and why they were created. Basically, Altrants were made for much the same reason that uplifts, that is, uplifted animals, which I dealt with in another video, why they were created, to do jobs that were either too dangerous or just kind of below a human, what a human should be doing. They create uplifted animals. Well, Altrants were made the same, much the same way, but for much the same reason. If you wanted a superior warrior who was also at the same time expendable, why, you made the Achilles Alterant. And he's a really good warrior, but yeah, it's okay if he dies in the battlefield. That's kind of what he was made for. And that's a lot of the feeling in a lot of places on Earth and in Clement Sector that are brought out in this book. And I like that. The book tells us that they were first created on Earth in the 2100s. The Chinese scientists were the first ones to make the breakthroughs necessary for it. But then once the genie was out of the bottle, everybody is making Altrants for all kinds of different things. I'll go into what different Altrants there are. That's very well brought out in this book. So we get the history of Altrants in Clement Sector, and then some nice artwork there of a Siren Altrant. I'll explain what they are as I go through the different Altrants. And now we get a look at the Altrants by sector. So the more populous sectors in the Clement Sector, we get to take a look at what the Altrants' status is, what their lives are like, based on where they live. So this is Altrants in Hub Sector. And what the Altrants encounter, unfortunately, is in some places, they are held as slaves. In other places, they are kind of free, but still looked down upon. Other places, they are free, but they are looked at, they're just kind of ignored, pushed to the periphery of society. And then finally, they are free and they are treated as just normal members of society. So the book does a great job of going into the various bits of racism that an Altrant can cover or can encounter. So then we go to Altrants in Cascadia subsector, and then Altrants in Franklin subsectors. Some subsectors, some planets, I apologize, some planets don't want Altrants on them, period. Whereas other planets, Altrants are trying to form their own colony so they can have their own society free of fear of humans. Altrants in Sequoia subsector, and Altrants in the colonies. So we got to look at how they're treated on the various places. And now we get generations and Altrant types. And this is pretty nice because this goes into the different Altrants that have been manufactured, what their purpose was, and if they can interbreed with normal humans or each other or other Altrants. It's pretty interesting. Some places it's actually forbidden for Altrants to mix with baseline humans, if you will, or with other Altrants. They can only marry and continue their families with their own kind. It's, again, this book does a nice job of pulling out the various prejudices that for some reason societies always have. So first one we're going to take a look at is the Achilles, bred for ground combat. These are the super soldiers. They were bred during the war with India's war with China in the 2190s. The Achilles Altrants are humans who have been altered at birth to be more effective and efficient soldiers. The name Achilles actually comes from the United States program where they made these super soldiers, and the name Achilles just kind of stuck and became the name for all of these guys. Achilles are often bred directly, as first generation, bred directly to be soldiers and raised in separate areas. And then it goes on to tell you how you would roll them, what would happen with the second generation, and how you would roll them. And the other thing you have to remember is how old they get. Achilles tend to die out sometime around the age of 50. They're genetically made to do that. But here it tells you first generation Achilles should be rolled with 2d6 plus 4 for strength, dex and endurance. Intelligence and education should be rolled 1d6 plus 2. And charisma will always start with a 2. So there's a lot of social skills needed by the average Achilles because they were raised as soldiers. Now we come to Aquanz. They're Altrants designed to be amphibious in order to better colonize water worlds. They work very well, unsurprisingly, with dolphins. There's a dolphin swimming beside an Aquan. They have 0 body hair, but they do have hair on top of their heads. And it goes again. Now, Aquans are thought to be beautiful, so they encounter less prejudice. And again, it goes into how you would go ahead and roll your Aquan character. And then their webbed hand, it tells you details like webbed hands and feet cause problems with tools and equipment. And a vac suit or something like that would be 125% more expensive because it would have to be custom made for them. You would need some kind of mitten affair instead of gloves in the vac suit. The next one we come to are the Baz. The Baz is Hindi for falcon. They were created by the Indian government in the 2170s in order to better handle the dangers of being in a free-fall environment for long periods of time. They have a different cardiovascular system. Their bones don't lose calcium as baseline humans would, and things like that. And again, it tells you how you roll it, and basically what the advantages and disadvantages are to the Altrant type. Gytion. They're Altrants which were genetically engineered for low-gravity environments such as Earth's moon, Luna. So these guys would operate in 0G or microgravity. These guys would operate in low gravity. They tend to be taller, tend to be thinner. Anybody who's been watching The Expanse knows about creatures that can live in some gravity, but not a bunch. The Belters have a problem with actual gravity. And again, the customized suits you would need because they're taller than average. Then we go to the Kalt. The Kalt were created by the Mongolian government during the early days of the colony of Nuravlan in the Gillespie system. The bitterly cold world presented a real problem, so these guys are genetically bred to be cold resistant. Their systems operate more efficiently in the cold, but they suffer greatly in the heat, all of which is brought out here. Then we come to Oscars. Oscars, which are humans who are created for working in high-gravity environments. These guys tend to have higher strength and endurance, but their dexterity tends to be lower. They also tend to be shorter than the human average. So shorter but stronger humans to live in the high G environment. And then we come to Peacocks. They were created in the Russian government by the Russian government in order to colonize the world in the Priglashny cemetery. It's a tough one in 2198. It's a hot, dry world, so these guys are genetically bred to this. This is him, not the creature. He's the Peacock. They are created to live in arid environments. Their bodies are more efficient with water and store water more efficiently than humans. Now we come to Sirens. Sirens are the only other Altrant that is made to die at around 50, and they are also made that they cannot interbreed at all. Every Siren in existence is a first-generation Siren. They are Altrants created to be sexual partners for baseline humans, is what they were originally created for. First created for the adult entertainment corporations around the world, and that's their primary purpose. So any kind of physical endowment that someone would find interesting, the Sirens can be made to that. They can be made to order and given over to that type of life. They also emit pheromones that attract members who might be interested. So it's an interesting Siren. It would be an interesting one to see played in a game. That could be a real good role-playing challenge for somebody. Now we come to Sniffers. They are Altrants who have had their breathing, including their noses and lungs, changed in order to breathe atmospheres, which would otherwise require a filter mask, created by a British bioengineering team. So basically you can't tell a Sniffer is an Altrant unless you look up their nose. And now we get body alterations and Altrant creations. So you're not an Altrant. You weren't created to be one. You're just a baseline human with the aging treatment. Oh, well, you can go ahead and you can change how you are. You can change your looks. You can change everything about you through this system. This was an interesting section, and this section here would apply to a lot of games, not just to Clement Sector or Cepheus or Traveler, but immediately as I was reading this section, I started thinking about Gamma World and how I would use some of these guys in Gamma World, and then I came to this section, and I was completely in. I just saw a scenario where you find a think tank that had still operating medical facilities, and your various players could go in and have these things installed. I think that could be a lot of fun. So basically, the way this is, there are a couple of limits on what you can install and how you can use it. But first and foremost is the cost. Adrenaline enhancement would cost you 500,000 credits. Your time, this is hours that you'd be laid up, would be 18 hours, so roughly a day and a half. Available at tech level 10. And build points is 50. What are build points? Well, build points, they are a limit to what you can have. If you're a baseline human, you can have up to 100 build points of alterations to your body. Uplifts and Altrants can add 50 points of alterations to their bodies. So whatever this number is, if you're an Altrant and you want adrenaline enhancement, it's 50 build points. It's the only one you can ever have on the character. And it'll cost you 500,000 gold pieces, 500,000 credits, and will lay you up for a day while they do it. Adrenaline enhancement, I'm going to go through each of these because I like them. The enhancement increases your adrenaline flow. For the first 3 rounds of combat, you add +4 to your initiative. Next 3 rolls after that, no bonuses, and then you kind of crash on the 7th round where you're -4. So it's definitely a lift. I would also put in the role-playing idea here that people with the adrenaline enhancement might be a little more aggressive than your average human. So then you can have antennae installed for 20 build points. Hair-like projections extend outward. These allow the user to become aware of pressure changes and temperature changes far earlier than other creatures. Plus, they can also look cool. Arms. You can actually have extra arms attached to you. You're tired of only having these 2 little arms? Well, you can go ahead and have a number of other arms attached to you. It's 80 build points, and you've got to pay 175% increase for your clothing. The beauty package. It's $1 million credit cost, 60 build points, and it's a full body makeover to give you the body of your dreams, to the point that you might not even be recognized by people who used to know you. Anyone who's undergone the beauty package alteration is +4 to social checks where carouse or persuade in dealing with anybody who would find you attractive. Now you have claws. This is 50 build points, and they're feline claws on the hands of the user. It does not say they're retractable, and it talks about needing special gloves. So that's kind of interesting, but also limiting. For 50 build points, you can build in a set of claws, and the claws do damage in combat as an added weapon for 1d6 plus 3 damage, but there are a lot of limits to that. Ears for parabolic hearing. These would not just be your normal ears. These would be ears that would be moved, kind of brought out from your head, and then they could shift around like a cat's ears do, so you can hear things in one particular direction. That's a 40 build point option. Ears. Pointed. You want to look like Mr. Spock? Here you go. You can just have the cosmetic change to give you pointy ears. Always want to be a space elf? This is your chance. 10 build points. 10,000 credits and 6 hours of downtime. And now protected ears. This one I thought was a pretty interesting one. It's 40 build points, and it gives you a valve inside the ear canal, which can close to protect the inner ear from loud sounds, sand, dust, or other irritants. You become immune to those effects. I thought that was a pretty interesting one. Eyes, microscopic. No, your eyes aren't microscopic. They can see things up 20 times magnification. They can see almost microscopically. You have to concentrate for a full round and then change it back for a full round. And that's 40 build points. Keep in mind, these are actual body alterations. These are not bionics. Eyes with a nictating membrane, 40 build points. It's an additional eyelid that closes beneath the existing eyelid. Allows the user to be immune to the effects of bright light, sand, dust, and other irritants. The eyelid can also be useful in allowing you to see underwater. That's one of the ones I thought was most interesting. Eyes, night vision, 40 build points again. You can see in darkness you adapt more rapidly to the darkness, and you can see more clearly in darkness. You get no negative modifiers due to darkness. Telescopic eyes, you can see as if items were 10 times closer. 40 build points again. Thermographic eyes for 50 build points. You can see varying degrees of heat. Makes it possible to see in absolute darkness any object which is radiating heat. So the old infravision. Now we go to fur. You want your entire body covered in fur like the beast? This is your chance for 40 build points. But you are covered from head to toe. You're water resistant, protected from ultraviolet radiation, and can be considered closed in some cultures. Gills. You can have gills that are open, or you can have gills with a membrane that closes them. 40 build points for the open one, 50 for the closed. You can breathe underwater. Heat retention. This allows you to be able to retain body heat 4 times longer than a baseline human. It's 100 build points, but it lets you operate in cold environments. And it's interesting because there's always a line toward the bottom how you'd be treated if you were seen with gills, or if there's a place where they have discriminations against Altrants, they'll discriminate against you too. Horns, large. If you want a ram's horns to put on top of your head, go nuts. I personally would want that because your neck's not built to take that impact, but what the heck, it's 30 build points. Or you can get the smaller horn set for 10 points just to have them be cosmetic. So you can have pointy ears and horns for 10 build points here for the horns and 10 for the pointy ears. You could have increased capacity in your lungs for 50 build points. Increase the user's endurance allows them to acclimate to lower atmosphere pressures faster than baseline humans. Taking this alteration gives the character +3 to their endurance immediately after the full alteration time has passed. You're down for 3 days with this, but when you're up, you get +3 to your endurance. That's pretty good. Muscle increase package. This is also referred to as the Hercules Alteration. It makes you big and strong. It gives you +3 to your strength and -3 to your dex after the full time has passed, which is 336 hours. That's a long time. Nasal Filters. Nasal filters allow the user to be able to function in tainted atmosphere without the need of a filter mask for 50 points. I would allow that to be something that would help player character if someone would have thrown in some kind of tear gas or anything. Pheromones, 40 build points. It increases your natural amount of pheromones that humans release to gain a positive social result from another human. It gives +3 die modifier to any charisma-based task. Senses, increased smell, 50 build points. This alteration gives the interiors of your nostrils They changed it to give you an increased number of olfactory receptors. I'm not sure I want increased smell, thank you. Increased taste, same kind of deal, 30 build points. Armored skin, 60 build points. One of the first ones I thought of when I came into this section. You get dermal bone grown over the top of your head, back of the neck, on your chest, your back, and your shoulders. This armor has a value of 4, but you look like you've got dermal bone grown all over the outside of you. So again, you may suffer problems with people that don't like Altrants, and it's more expensive to buy clothing and armor and vac suits to fit you. Bioluminescence, 70 build points for full body or 30 for just a single body part. If you want to glow in the dark for whatever reason, you can use it. If you the body part to glow for up to 30 minutes, enough light to read by or light a passage or to signal for help. It doesn't say if you can turn it off or on, so I'm guessing it's like the old glow in the dark models I had as a kid. You expose it to light, it glows for about half an hour. When you wake up or if you wake up during the night, they're not glowing anymore. Chameleon skin allows you to change skin color for 70 build points. You can do it in patterns. Mostly this could be for decoration and entertainment, but it could be used for camouflage, gives you a +2 dye modifier, any attempt to hide. Emotive skin, 70 build points. The old mood rings from the 70s. Well, here you go. Your entire skin can be that. I don't know why you'd want this. Anybody looking at you would know immediately what you were feeling, and it gives us a list of the emotion color. So the color is black and you're tense or angry. You're gray, you're anxious, and you cannot fake your response. It is what you're feeling. So I'm not sure I want to wear my heart on a sleeve like that with emotive skin. A tail for balancing, 40 build points. You can counterbalance and gives you good advantage for things that help you with any kind of balance situation. You add, this gives the character an additional +3 to their dexterity in locations where the tail can be used effectively. So pretty much anywhere except in a vac suit, I would go ahead and give them an effective +3 to their dexterity. And then, of course, a decorative tail to go along with your horns and your pointed ears. Here you go. We've got 10 build points for decorative tail. Prehensile tail for 50. Tired of carrying those tools in your 2 hands? Well, now you can use your tail for it. Fangs for 30 build points. I'm seeing a theme here where you can make yourself look truly horrific. They can be used in melee. They cause 1 to 6 points of damage. I wouldn't recommend having enhanced fangs for 30 build points, biting someone and having enhanced taste. That would probably not be a good time. Tentacles. If you've always wanted to have tentacles, you could be Squidward. 50 build points for a pair of tentacles, 75 for 2 pair, or 3 pair for 100. Again, you've got to pay more for your clothing. Vestibular system improved. Gives the user, with the sense of balance, improves the user's sense of balance, spatial orientation, and awareness. Gives you +2 modifier to any physical task performed in gravity of less than half a G for 40 build points. And then water retention for those arid days, 40 build points. You can retain water. Web hands and feet for 40 points. You like to swim? This will help you. And then, of course, wings for 75 build points. It gives you a pair of wings, wingspan equal to twice the character's height. This allows you to glide in an atmospheric code between 6 and 10, and fly in an atmosphere between 8 and 10. That's kind of interesting that you could actually fly with these things if the atmosphere is thick enough. And, of course, you're going to need special clothing and things like that. So, pretty interesting. Now we come to Altrant characters. This would be how you would create your Altrant character, and during which steps you should step out of the ordinary character creation and where you should step in. You definitely need the big, beautiful book, the third Clement Sector 3rd edition book, rules, to use this book. There's a lot, especially in the character creation, that you have to go back and forth with. And it tells us what kind of hybrids you could be. An Aquanz hybrid, a Kalt hybrid, Oscar hybrid, Peacock hybrid, or a Sniffer hybrid. Compounds are when 2 Altrants get together, and talks about their native world or their status based on where they're from. And now we come into the aging. If you were a slave, Altrant slave, this is your aging charts instead of the ones in Clement Sector 3rd edition. and then your teen events. And then it gives you the career path with the Altrant slave career path, with the various mishaps and events that go with that. And then naming an Altrant, it gives you various names suggested down here. And then the Council of Altrant Supremacists. This is a power group that thinks that Altrants should be the be-all and end-all of humanity. They're the ultimate expression of humankind. Therefore, they should be the ones in charge. We have the Brothers in Genetics, another power group who want to create Altrant solidarity, and it recommends that Altrants live separately from humans. Perfect Imperfection can be looked upon as a hate group, depending on who's doing the looking. The Freedom Flyers, which is a group that was created to move Altrants out of slavery to sectors and planets where they would be free. And then we get some details on Sanctuary, which is a place that has been created by the Freedom Flyers. It's an independent world which has been settled by the Altrant hero Eleni and her followers. Most are not aware of the settlement, as it will not appear on most star maps. And then we go into a great deal of information on the actual colony itself. And so it's a good jumping off point if you want to start an Altrant campaign. This would be a great place for them to start. And then we have new skills, which is science, Altrant psychology, understanding what makes an Altrant tick. And then the author's note, and we're out. This book is interesting. If anyone was a reader of the old X-Men comic books, or even the cartoon from the 90s, a lot of the themes in that, the comic and the TV show, could easily be adapted to this. Just how being different can set you apart in society, and being different can make everyone make you different. This book brings that out very well. I like the attention that's given to the problems of being different. Very well brought out by John Watts. I think it's a very well done thing. It could add a lot to role-playing for anybody who were to be running any of these items. This stuff is not necessarily held just to Independence Games Clement Sector 3rd Edition. This could be used easily in Cepheus. It could be used in Traveler, Gamma World, as I said. I even saw a few applications in here for Champions. So any space opera even, another science fiction game, a Traveler clone, if you will. There's all kinds of things that can be used in different games. So I recommend this book highly. Accolades to John Watts and Independence Games on another product that is just really fun. It was a fun read. I really enjoyed sitting down with this book. I will be using a lot of stuff out of it, and I recommend it highly. So you can get it as a PDF from the website. I'll attach a link below. You can go through the Independence Games website, or you can go through DriveThruRPG. I'm going to attach the link to Independence Games. If you want to go through DriveThruRPG, they're easy to find there as well. So that's all I've got to say today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed what you heard and saw. If you did, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time on page 121.